with Abeokuta, your public relations program on television. Today, we're continuing with our topic, authors and life issues. Last week, we deliberated on so many things, and today, we are once again back on set. I had with me last week Matthew Simpa, an author, screenwriter, filmmaker, then a video editor, who's also a man of many parts. Welcome once again, sir.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here again.
It's nice having you. And I have another unique person. I don't know how to describe him. He's also an author, a dramatist, cultural enthusiast, and one thing he said, an orthodox historian. He will explain that, and that's the person, Mr. Yinka Karim. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure having you, more so that I'm having an orthodox historian with me today. Well, I'm going to quickly ask you, what does it take to be an orthodox historian?
It's simple. Let us just compare it with what we'll say an orthodox historian. They are trained historians. But when you are an unorthodox historian, it means you have interest in history. That's the simple definition I give.
That's the simple definition?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's one unique thing, or something that perplexes me, and that's the issue of authors being a complex being. And even beyond being a complex being, they talk much about the environment, something spoiling them, making them to do certain things in a way that ordinary person will not do. Why are authors complex beings?
I would say authors are really complex beings when you look at the nature of what they are doing. There are people that say they are not just ordinary human beings, so to speak. They are like prophets. And when you are an author, your society, you cannot just say you are an author and you won't relate with your society. Because in the first instance, the society is going to build an author, and an author is going to relate with the society in its writing.
Well, thank you. So we are still going to dig deep on the issue. Another intriguing thing, which we discussed last week, but which I wasn't too much satisfied, is the issue of muse. Authors relate so much and talk so much about muse. Is it peculiar with authors alone? And let us fully understand the circumstance, the parameters, the yardstick with which muse come into the life of an author. Matthew.
Well, incidentally, my colleague here would bear me witness that this has been dominating, the platform of the Association of Nigeria Authors in Abeokuta in Ogun State for the past 1 or 2 days now. We've been talking about muse and all that. Well, to me, muse just is, another way of talking about inspiration, source of inspiration. And, well, I wouldn't say it is peculiar to writers or authors, but it is used mainly in literary, circles to describe the source of inspiration and all that. When it relates to other areas, I think they talk about inspiration and all that. So the muse is, where you draw your inspiration from. Somebody was, relating it to the period, the moment and all that this morning. I saw it on the platform that some authors prefer to be on their bed when they want to get inspiration from their muse. So it depends on how you train yourself to get inspiration. It could be that way, But sometimes environmental factors may not allow you to draw inspiration that way. Like for me now, I cannot stay on my bed and write because even the condition does not allow. There's no power supply in the morning when you wake up. You probably have to put on a small torchlight to, you know, see your way around. So that's just basically my own understanding of the muse as it relates to authors.
Perhaps you have another perspective to the issue of muse and authors.
I have similar perspective, but the best way for me to talk about my muse or anybody muse in any gathering like this is to go personal.
Okay.
Let me say about 44 years ago, I became an author.
44 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went for a rehearsal and I criticized those rehearsing the play, and they said that while coming tomorrow, bring your play. And while I was walking, trekking, the idea started coming. That night, going back to rehearsal the next day, I wrote my first play. As I was walking, the idea was just coming. I've not read anything about the muse by then, but later in life, after reading and having experiences and listening to a lot of people, I discovered that your muse depends on the type of person you are. It's going to influence, it's going to dictate to you or influence how you will know your muse. At times, you have to be in a silent place. At times, this is a fact, you have to be naked before your muse will even flow very well with you. At times, it's when you're in the restroom. At times, you'll be where people are talking. So it depends on your personality and how you discover your muse.
I hope it's not mystical.
Excuse me, sir, I would say it's mystical. Let me give an example. During the regime or during the tenure of the erstwhile governor, Amosun, I was called upon to write a command performance, and I'm going to direct it. We call the title Ajay. I struggled for so many days. I couldn't really get anything together. And because I knew then that if I do some little things here and there and I sleep, my muse will talk to me in my dream. I slept. And in my dream, when I woke in my dream, I saw myself in a friend's house. The next day I woke up, I called my friend, wait for me, I'll be in your house. When I stepped into that man's house, everything about the play just came, and I told him, look here, everything is done. And I left.
Any connection with the issue of muse and religion?
I will say there is a connection, and I say there is not.
How do you explain that?
You see, it depends. At times you can choose who your muse is. Let us talk about the Yorubas. Let us talk about Soyinka. Soyinka took Ogun in the beginning as his muse, and up to now, he still stick by it. Ogun is my muse. Yoruba will tell you, okay, let us leave literary artists and talk about the fine artists, sculptors. If you are talking about their muse in Yoruba land, you are talking about Obalufon. If you are talking about the muse of singers in Yoruba land, you are talking about Oya. But there are very ways at times regions will not come to that. Okay, let us look at this issue. Some people can say, Mileti. They said something should remind them. But when you come to the issue of artists, like Wasiu sang a song, and when you see Wasiu, it's talking to a muse, something that is giving him inspiration. So it might be religious and might not be religious.
Maybe that's why some Christians speak in tongue.
I would say so, sir, because let us look at this. Let us look about the link between religion and writers. Okay. They said that like a prophet. You see prophets, when they don't go up the mountain, they will go inside, underneath. The prophet
getting secluded.
When you're in seclusion at times, everything will flow, your muse will flow. And when you are naked at times, if it's your own way of linking yourself with your muse, the ideas will flow, and ideas will pursue you. In your dreams, you see it. And I had it, that you see, it's mystical. While I was working on one of my published plays, The Times of Economy, because I've made some mistakes in my errors in my first publication, I decided that I was not going to make a mistake then. But after finishing, then that night I slept after publishing. Something just came to me, opened the page for me, showed me the mistake. I woke up, I took the book, and lo and behold, there was a mistake there. So it's mystical.
Very interesting. Simple. As authors are complex, so writings is also very complex. So to believe, what genres or what makes writings complex?
Well, I think I will look at it from the angle of the fact that life itself is complex.
Okay.
And of course, when you are a writer, you are living in the world. You are not, living apart from the world. So you have to look at the world you live in, and you have to find a way to express, yourself in the world. And there are so many kinds of writing genres, like we say it. Some may just write to entertain people. Some can write adventure novels or stories. Some can write, mystical things and all that. So it depends on just how much, complexity a man has experienced in life that will determine how complex his own, writings will be. But basically, writing is complex because the world itself is complex. And of course, you are, carving a slice of life into your writings.
Will you prescribe a particular mode of writing or a particular style of writing?
That would be like
particular environment for writing.
That would be like pigeonholing people. Because the important thing about art is freedom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every artist craves freedom. Without the freedom, there cannot be, creativity as we know it. So there can't be any particular way of doing things. Writing, for example, there are so many ways. Like me now, the way I get my inspiration is different. I can't remember seeing anything I have done in my dream to correct it. But of course, I could just be going and then something will just drop in my mind that, wow, there is an error somewhere there, or there's something I could have added. So we differ in the way, we look at things, we differ in our experiences, then our backgrounds differ. So you can't just say, this is a particular way to do anything in writing, but you may just learn the principles and techniques to guide you.
Well, thank you very much. I still want to go back to you, and it's intriguing knowing that certain behavioral attitudes could be explained in a mystical way or in an unnatural way, let me say. As authors and the media and the new technology, are they having a meeting point?
Yes.
Because when you look back, in those days, things were done differently. Now, we now have technology. What is changing? And how are people adapting? Is it having a favorable or negative impact on humanity?
You see, sir, when we compare our country or our climate to others, things are not changing as it should be. Artificial intelligence is there for all of us to make use of. But it depends on if you are not computer literate, and even if you are computer literate, it's going to affect you. Let us put it like this. It depends on the school, or I won't call it school of thought, where you belong. Let us say this analog generation. If you are the analog generation, you find it difficult to come to the digital generation. But there are a lot of things. You see, sir, as I have said, writing is complex. I read some times ago, somebody said that the job that is most difficult in this world is to carry a heavy stone. But there's something more difficult than that.
And
That
what's
is writing.
No, but the writing is, can I say it's flimsy? Can I say it's...
What you see is that you see a writer is also a critic of himself. When you write, when you are not satisfied, you keep on doing that job, until you do the right thing. It's not, at times, okay, let me confess, I wrote a play one year, and after writing that play, I said, look here, I'm not going to write any play again. Because a particular scene, I want to write about the Victorian age. Somebody in a Victorian room. For about 6 months, I was still researching on how a Victorian room should be. The food, all those things. Although your miss is there, we just give you the idea, but you have to work very hard. But I didn't mean that while I was writing there's this issue of artificial intelligence. It would have made my job easier.
Exactly.
So that's the issue.
Maybe I need to also...
If I may contribute to that.
Okay.
You see, it is acknowledged, I think universally, that the toughest jobs to do are those jobs that require brain work. And you know, writing is, you know, brain work. So it's a very difficult thing. It's not as easy as it appears. Otherwise, everybody would be a writer. And of course, there are different kinds of writers. So it depends on the kind of writer that we are talking about. But serious writers, no, the job is not easy.
Will you say those people are involved in non-fiction? Find it difficult to write?
Well, of course, even the non-fiction writer will have to do researches. And in the course of doing researches, you know, there will be difficulties and there will be upsets and there will be the temptation to even chicken out at the end of the day. So when you are lifting an object, if you lift it up to a point and you cannot, you know, carry it again, you may drop it and nobody will care. But if you are committed to writing and you get to a point and you are discouraged and you drop it, of course you would have robbed the world of, you know, the knowledge that they should get.
Probably I should ask Mr. Karim what you mean by the theory of early arrival discriminatory aggression.
Thank you, sir. You see, let me say, I will call myself a man that goes into various fields. There's a field that they call, when we are talking about these people in diaspora and transnational studies. And now let me come to Abeokuta for people to really understand what I mean by that, an early arrival. The Egba arrived here before the Owu people.
Okay.
The Owu are late arrivals. Egba are early arrivals. But what you will see everywhere is that the late arrivals are labeled as aggressive people. And it is normal. Allow anybody into your house. Allow anybody into your compound. If you are not careful, it's going to take over everything you have. They have been blaming the late arrivals. But let us look at the early arrivals. I call it discriminatory aggression. They will discriminate against you. They are all right, they don't want you to partake out of it. They dictate for you. An example, when the days of Shodeke, they were going to war. And the leader of the was on the horse. And there's a little soldier was saying, look here, come down. Shodeke can be on the horse and you be on the horse. And why the Owu came? They joined them with the Bagura people, but it was later that they gave them the first one. So early arrival to the aggressive, not that the late arrivals. Late arrivals, early arrivals, they are both aggressive.
Because they want to be domineering?
They want to protect what they have.
Okay, not domineering.
No, I won't call it. Okay, look at the case of Lagos, sir.
Okay.
Look at the case of Lagos. Let us go historical now.
Okay.
When we are, Benin will say that, yes, we are the one that gave the place the name Eko. Basic fact. But Aromere was there. And there's a law, universal law. Even if a person, you've captured a person, you made him a slave, and their father owns the land, if you want to do anything on the land, you get authority for him. When the king of Eko, that came from Benin, wanted a palace, they went to Aromere, and Aromere gave part of Yudiari Igaidugono. He gave him a place. It's his pepper farm. So a king still went to a subject, I need the land. So that is some of the rights that, what do you call it, an early arrival will still have over everything. You still have to go to him. And I call it aggression because they are discriminating against the late arrivals.
Okay, thank you very much. I want you to look at issue of culture, science and humanity. And how do we curb perversion among the youths?
Well, I think it's just aggressive education and making them to understand that there are principles that guide life. And I would say that we should, just look at what we have on ground, consider what is out there, and find a point of convergence so that we can bring something healthy out of the whole thing. Because definitely cultures, cultures influence cultures now, and technology is universal. So we have to find a point of convergence and then tell our youth about this so that they can grow into it.
Well, we are here on Your Image, and the topic is authors and life issues. Mr. Karim,
Sir?
I want you to encourage the youth. Just the last bite. How do you encourage the youth to pick up writing attitude or to develop writing attitude?
And the first thing I say is that they must develop interest in it. Look, you read a lot, and after reading a lot, just pick on somebody as your, let me say, as the person you focus upon. If possible, write that person. Look for that person, talk to him. And just believe that you too want to use it. You want to use that medium, the writing medium, to make a change in life, to contribute to the society, to change whatever you see that is not going on well. Practice. While I started, I still have my poems, the first poems that I wrote. They are nonsensical poems, grammatical errors.
So to you, well, that's always a beginning.
And there was always a beginning. Sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Simple.
It's a pleasure.
Your advice on authors?
Yeah, authors should look at life differently than other people, and we should also see our role as trying to change and make life better. Simple.
It's a beautiful day, and it's been wonderful. Time is not so much there for us to continue to discuss. Of course, we have to stop on this topic, authors and life issues. My discussion will be so complex, just as the topic is and authors are. Until next week, I want to say thank you. Develop interest in writing and study your environment. Let's be historical. Let's have something that people can reflect on and say, you are here. Thank you. I'm still a Yanko Abeokuta on Your Image. The next week, when we bring a brand new topic to be discussed, I say thank you for being with us all this long. It's a pleasure having you there. Bye.